Hello, guys. Brandon here, and welcome to my new series, Watch and Talk. So, the series is a review series of TV shows and movies that I've watched or am currently watching. Um, and then I do a summary, and then I review it, and give it my rating out of 10. So, um, the obvious shows would have been a drama show for me because I'm a huge drama show fan. And drama shows like Walking Dead, Falling Skies, Breaking Bad. And I thought, well, I have to start from the beginning. And not that many people have reviewed this show, and I'm a huge fan. Thanks, phone. Not a lot of people have actually reviewed, at least I don't think, this show because I don't think it's that popular. I know it's pretty popular, but compared to like Walking Dead and Breaking Bad, this is on TNT and it's Falling Skies. Ooh. So I actually got this for Christmas, and I've seen these episodes before. I've watched it from the start of the second season. I started the first, and then up to the third at the end, where we are now. And this show premieres in summer, so if you are looking for a drama to catch up on, to binge watch like I do, definitely check this out. It's really worth it. Some episodes are slower, but not bad at all. So let's go on to the review. So I did write this down. I don't want to pretend like I'm not writing it down, but I just watched it again for the third time, but not third time in a row, but third time in all. And I wrote down stuff about it. So here we go. So in this first episode, I would say the name usually, but the name is, I don't think there is a name for this episode. What Falling Skies does is they premiere the first two episodes on the same night, and they just call it premiere. So this is the first part of the premiere, I guess you could say, or the first episode, because they do have like credits between, but then they just show the next episode, and I'm pretty sure there's not a name for it. So there's that. So in the first 15 minutes, the first 15 minutes is a bit of a slow point for the episode. Not slow, because it introduces it kind of fast and then just kind of goes from here to here. So first it starts out introducing the main character, Tom Mason, who is they live in Boston, and he is a history professor. So they do reference that a couple of times, him knowing, history lessons, comparing their war to history lessons, which is just a cool kind of, cool little feature of just showing what his life was before and how he is. I mean, it's been only days since this happened. It hasn't been years, and he hasn't forgotten, comparing it to Trojans and other wars and stuff like that. And it just shows his family and how they've survived in this alien apocalypse world. At least some of them survived. His wife was killed while on a supply run, really close, and his other son, Ben, he has three sons, Matt, Ben, and Hal. His middle son, Ben, was at his friend's house when the whole thing happened, and he doesn't know where he is. So that's always cool. He's always looking for him, and, there's little things like, oh, I wonder where Ben is. We can't leave the city because Ben. And then in the kind of before the 15-minute mark, they introduce Hal's girlfriend, and I just thought I'd mention this. This isn't important, but she's a bitch. She's a bitch. One of the girls is like, oh, here, Hal, I thanks for what you did today, because he went out and he risked his life for food, and she gave him some food, and she's like, ugh. She's just making fun of the girl, so she's quite the bitch, and it's shown later that she's quite the bitch also. But I like how they introduce the second mass, which I think there's 11 masses, which masses are 200 people per mass. It's like a group, and it's like a Boston group of survivors. And what the commander guy does is he splits off them into first and second rank in the mass. So there's the leader, and then there's the co-leader, just in case something happens to the leader, and that. So the original leader is killed off of the second mass. The original, who was going to be the leader, was killed off like right in the beginning, and it shows that. And then the Weaver and Tom Mason, two of the just strongest leaders, I guess you could say, they're put to the test, sort of they're really not good friends, as you can tell in the beginning, and they're put up against each other, not against each other, but Tom's second, and ahead of him is Weaver. So Weaver's the leader with 10 years of military experience, and then Tom is there as the professor, and that's why he's second. But you can see they continue to like bump heads during the whole episode, and you'll continue to see that because they don't agree on much, and you can see that in the beginning of the episode, you can see that in the middle of the episode, you can see it at the end of the episode. So it's kind of cool to see that little like collision of power. You can hear that that little collision of power between the two characters. So that's really cool. Next page. Why are they so loud? I like the mic though; it picks it up well. My voice. Okay, so about halfway through the episode, they have left the original location with all the masses, and they split up into the second mast. So this is just the second mast, all 200, whatever. I don't know the exact numbers, but there's a little amount of fighters per group and then an amount of civilians. So the civilians obviously being the older people, the younger people, the people who aren't willing to fight, who can't fight, are unable to, and then the fighters, the people who can use guns, who can protect the camp. So Tom, Weaver, Tom's oldest son Hal, his girlfriend, and they're a decent amount of fighters. And so they want to go back, at least Tom does. He wants to go back to Boston to go check, I think it's Boston, to get supplies at a food store. And I'm not sure why he picks that place, because they've been picked clean, I'm pretty sure, around where they are. And Tom volunteers to go, and Weaver says, okay, you're only going with you're only bringing 6 other fighters, including yourself, so 7 fighters in all, and no C4, no AT4s, so no RPGs, no high round weapons, nothing they want to lose. So basically they're saying, this is a suicide mission, go fuck yourself. That's really what Weaver's saying. But and at that point, Tom picks Die. Well, he asks them to volunteer. You can't really just volunteer someone, but of course they're good people, and he picks people like his son Hal goes, his girlfriend Die, who is basically the Daryl of this show. He's like so badass. And there are Anthony and Click, who are 2 African American like friends, and then this little kid Jimmy, not really little, but really nice, pretty. He's like 13, I'd say. And so they all go, and Die actually sneaks some C4 from Weaver somehow. He's like, oh, what's that? And he just pulls out the C4, which is actually pretty funny. And then they end up going to the store, and they're looking for supplies, loading them up into the truck. And when they're looking, Hal gets attacked by a Skitter, which is the zombie, and not alien of the show, like the main spider-looking alien, if you don't know. And so the Skitter starts to attack him, and Tom comes over and tries to shoot him, and distracts him. And it's a Skitter, I think. And all shit hell breaks loose, I should say. And they all start fighting, and it's really intense, where Hal's on the ground about to die, and then Tom goes and saves him, and then there's a point where Tom's about to die and Hal goes and saves him, and then towards the end there's a Skitter. Tom gets the C4 that Die actually gave him, and he puts it in a shopping cart because they're at a store, and he just pushes it towards the mech, which is the big huge robotic thing that was attacking Hal at the time, and blew him up and saved Hal. So now the Skitter that was being controlled by the mech is still pissed off. When you be pissed off your leader was killed, so now the Skitter's going after Tom, and Hal's, I don't know where the hell Hal is, but Die comes out of nowhere and with shotgun, so saves Tom. Die being fucking badass, and Die really saved Hal too with giving the C4, because what was Tom gonna do? Their bullets don't do shit against those mechs. So let's see, is that it? Okay, so that was, there's actually a part before that which I kind of skipped over, and it was kind of just them really regrouping after they left. The 7 fighters left, they were kind of just regrouping a bit, and it shows that Tom is still really kind of not obsessed, but like really wanting to find Ben because he suspects that Ben is harnessed by by the harness that the aliens put on and control them, and all attempts to take the harness off at this point have been just not good, and all the kids have died who've gotten the harness taken off, and Ben, it's assumed that he's harnessed because they don't kill kids, they only kill adults. They harness kids, so if you're under 18, you don't get killed by them. They just try to capture you and use you to into slavery, and so Hal's out with Karen on motorcycles, and he's using his telescope, like one of those hands ones, where you kind of, one of those hand telescopes, and he's just looking around, and he hears a lot of commotion, so he kind of hides, and it's a bunch of mechs, which, the big robotic, those things, and behind them are, I'm pretty sure, a bunch of skidders too, and are some harnessed kids, and he notices that Ben's in that group, so he wants to go and this is kind of an emotional scene. He really wants to go get Ben. He wants to just screw over the mission. Don't go get food. Go for Ben. But Tom says no. You have to stick to the mission. We have to get the food, bring it back, and then we go back for Ben. And they couldn't agree on it. So Hal's like, all right, fuck it. He goes out. He's getting on his motorcycle, and Tom just takes him down. It was really good. He just takes him down, like, says we're doing this the right way. Matt's back home, the youngest son, he's back, and we don't want him to lose more than one brother. We don't want him to lose two brothers and his dad. So it was a really touching scene. As you can tell, all the characters in the group were just watching. They didn't, they were obviously touched by it, or not touched, but you know what I mean. So the episode ends, at least this half of the episode ends with Matt, the youngest son, says something about how it was his birthday party. It was supposed to be today, and it was when they were leaving this, the bigger group. And he says something like, oh, like, when's my birthday party going to be? And he was really upset that, he missed his birthday party, especially as a young kid. I think he was probably like 8. Maybe younger, honestly. I don't know exactly his age. He's really young, though. And So Tom says, oh, I'm sorry, Matt, I didn't get you anything, but they gave him a candle and, a cupcake just to celebrate his birthday. And Hal gives him this ripstick. He said, oh, Dad, what are you talking about? Did you forget about this gift? And they all planned it. I guess Di and him found something at the warehouse to give Matt from Tom because Tom forgot. And then this is a really touching scene. It shows, like, the one true happiness in the group at this point. There's the whole group, and they're all just kind of standing there. And then Matt gets the helmet that Di gave him, and then the ripstick. And he starts just going around, and all the other kids. And after he's done going like around this circle, everyone just starts watching him. Like, the whole group's just in a circle watching him, and you can see they're really, like, just happy, genuinely happy for once. And he starts sharing the ripstick. Like, after doing like one lap, he just kicks it to the other kid, and they're all just going around, and all the parents are just so happy. And then they end the episode there as Tom tells everyone that it's time to go, and Weaver, and that's it. So out of 10, I would have to give this episode somewhere between a 9.5 and 10. I'm not sure if it's a perfect 10. I really enjoyed this episode, and I thought it was a great pilot episode of the series. So thank you guys for watching, and if you haven't already, check out Falling Skies. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Watch and Talk.